it is the first time. We heard about the deal through the media. We didn't hear from Cosatu directly anything on this. And what we gathered from our local associations is that the deal was made with one farmer, one of the biggest farmers, and but we don't really know the details. Some of our sources say that the deal was made to include some overtime, etc. You know, there's a new sectoral determination will be binding on all almost 37,000 commercial farmers, as well as on all the emerging farmers as well. So I don't think that farmers will say that, you know, they will welcome an agreement between Cosatu and one or two farmers, and that will be binding on everybody. Right from the outset, we advise farmers to negotiate with their workers at farm level, especially on wages for this peak period and between now and the end of March when the new sectoral determination will be published. And that's what we advise farmers to do, but not to make necessarily to make agreements with Cosatu or any other union, but to make it at farm level between the farmer and his workers. Again, you know, what's difficult about this is who is binded by these agreements, you know. It's really informal agreements, and that's why we said it should be done at farm level. Because you can do it at district level, and then you've got table grape growers and fruit growers and you know, farmers who farm sheep and so on. And it's hugely different. And that's what our problems were in the past that we encountered, is that eventually you have to have a minimum wage, a sectoral determination, and on top of that, we advise farmers to pay more than the minimum wage, if it is at all possible, and then to negotiate between the farmer and his workers.
Johannes Muller, Agri-SA's president, talking about the strikes in the Western Cape. Let's get some clarity on this issue. Joining us now, Cosatu's provincial secretary in the Western Cape, Tony Ehrenreich. Tony, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell me about this. Who is involved in this agreement? Is it just one farmer or a number of farmers?
Well, I think that the point we must start with is what Johannes Muller makes, and that is that he doesn't welcome an agreement that brings to an end the strike or the suspension of the strike, and that give negotiations a chance. All he says that really we shouldn't be, as farmers, talking to unions. We must talk to our workers individually. Now, this is part of the historical hostility that Agri South Africa has had towards unions, because they want to maintain the slave-master relationship on farms. And Agri South Africa, the country would know, is an apartheid-style organization that really wants to...
Tony, we'll get back to that issue, but I really want clarity about then who has agreed and who has not.
We have an agreement in Glen William, and we have discussions in many other areas with farmers, trade organizations, and with an association of different farmers. Because if you look at table grapes, a lot of the input costs and the affected related areas to their production processes are similar, and they said they can pay similar salaries. So we have discussions where we have an agreement with a number of farmers. But the more significant thing is that the Department of Labor, or the DG, in discussions yesterday, had said that what they prepared to do is, irrespective of the number of farmers or the number of unions included in a discussion in an area, they will turn that into a sectoral agreement for that area, which will apply to all farmers. So everybody in the country wants to find a solution to the strike and want to see decent wages above the 69 rand that Agri South Africa is promoting, but the only organization opposing it seems to be Agri-SA, who's not cooperative with finding solutions at all.
But tell me about the processes here. Can you have a sectoral determination only for Glen William, and then when the agreement perhaps is struck in the Dorans, have a sectoral agreement for that area as well?
The law absolutely allows that, and that's nothing unusual. The entire industrial and labor relations system of South Africa is based on that. There are peculiarities in relation to sectors or geographic areas. There's company-by-company matters, and then there's macro issues that could be dealt with at the national level. So that's the architecture of our law. That's what Agri South Africa denies and doesn't have the sophistication to respond to. We really need an organization representing farmers that has both shared the racist philosophy of the past, but also understands that the need to engage and find solutions.
Sure, because the worry may be that you would have a sectoral determination in Glen Williams that says 105 rand a day, and when people in the Dorans then, get what they are demanding, which is 150, people in Glen Williams will say, well, no, actually we want 150 as well.
Well, this is exactly the point, and this is where the difference comes about. If you had unions and workers engaging in good faith negotiations with farmers in a geographic area, those negotiations would consider the variables for that area and would arrive at a fair deal that's related to those conditions. This is where the weakness of the argument and the logic of South Africa falls away, because they don't want to engage in negotiations that examines the variables, that looks at what the different input costs are, and that comes to an area that represents an agreement that fairly takes care of workers and fairly distributes the profits that are created. Then those agreements will stick.
Okay.
In the logic of South Africa, that the whole system comes apart.
Just a final one then. In terms of the processes, when will the agreement be signed, but also when will the sectoral determination be declared?
Well, the agreement has been agreed to in Glen William, and that's applicable to those workers. The workers have gone back. That's the model that ourselves and the Department of Labour has agreed we must use for all of the other towns, and that's why it's suspended the strike. Many farmers are in discussions with us. It's only Agri South Africa is trying to dissuade them. But there's another point that Jan Muller misrepresents the country. What we are seeing now and what the discussions with the Department of Labour has brought about is that the sectoral determination will be put in place in the end of February. So that means from March, workers will earn the new wage that's in place. But Muller exposes his hand. The longer they can delay